Hello lovelies, I hope you are all doing well. If you've been here before, then welcome back. It's good to see you. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Emily. I'm an artist and small business owner here on YouTube. And if you like what you see, then I also sell my work through Etsy. So you can check all that out by clicking the link in the description box down below. With the start of October also comes the start of the yearly drawing challenge known as Drawtober. If you've not heard of Drawtober, then it takes place every October and is a spooky or Halloween themed drawing challenge. The prompts are posted on Instagram by the official Drawtober account, and if you tag the account in your post, then they might share it. So a nice little bit of exposure too. They also select a piece every day of the month and award the creator an official Drawtober pin, which I think is really cool. I don't know of any other drawing challenge that actually rewards their participants. The first prompt this year was Candlelit Messenger, so as you'll see, I'm just making some small warm-up drawings in my sketchbook of the initial ideas that came to mind from the prompt. So we had candles, then we went to lanterns, to jack-o'-lanterns, and then I figured I could include moths somewhere, seeing as they are drawn to light. And pretty soon I got the idea of making my messenger a little moth guy. I love moths, especially hawk moths. I find them really cute with their big fluffy bodies and everything. That first moth drawing there was actually a study of a Venezuelan poodle moth, which if you haven't already seen, then go and treat yourself to a quick Google. Go on, I'll wait. Are you looking? Cute, right? They look like Pokemon, it's unreal. So anyway, I decided that my messenger was going to be a sort of anthropomorphic moth, and that it was their job to deliver letters. So they're a little postman. I tried to look up traditional post-worker uniforms to create their clothing and wanted to create this sort of bundled up look, like they're wearing lots of layers and maybe the uniform is a little too big for them. I figured that this would sort of mimic the chunky body of the typical hawk moth, and then we have these two spindly legs coming out of the bottom to look a little bit bug-like. Something else that I really liked about this design, but ultimately had to cut out, was the little eyebrow antennae. But when it came to drawing the final piece, they made the face look a little too crowded and it was difficult to really see what they were supposed to be. So, alas, I had to say goodbye to that particular element. Boo-hoo. A part of the design that I found surprisingly challenging was their messenger bag. I wanted it to look like it was stuffed full of letters because without that particular prop, it's not clear that this character is a messenger at all. Looking back, I could have maybe put a letter in their hand or depicted them in the act of delivering a message, but past Emily clearly thought the bag was enough. So the challenge was really getting the bag at the right angle and making it look like it was full of letters. I mean, I had some of the letters poking out underneath, but I don't know whether that's really realistic of how it would have looked. Maybe I should have had the bag open, like it was too full to close. But it's all things that we'll learn from in the future. After I was happy with the character design, I moved on to trying to figure out an actual composition for the illustration. And my first thought was that they could be clinging to a street lamp, and that would work because then it gives us an idea of the size of the character. Until that point, they could have been completely human-sized, but I like the idea of them being the size of a moth instead. I ended up not using the clinging to a giant lamp idea, though, because it meant that the majority of the character's design would be covered up. And I was really proud of the design and didn't want to sacrifice any of it. Looking back though, this would have made a much more interesting composition, and I wish I had stuck with this idea instead of the one I went for in the end. Eventually I decided that I'd spent enough time in my sketchbook and it was time to start the real illustration. I used my iPad and the Procreate app for this, mainly because of the recording Procreate takes of every drawing by default. This makes things much easier when I'm wanting to create YouTube videos. I do sometimes record my process on Photoshop using OBS, but if I speed it up too much, the frame rate drops dramatically, so I need to find a solution for that. Unless you guys want to sit and watch a 2-hour-long video of my drawing process, which I don't think anybody is really crying out for right now. Anyway, you'll be disappointed to see that the final composition is just our little messenger standing in front of a giant lantern. Or a normal-sized lantern, because, you know, they're a tiny messenger. And you're going to hear me criticise this piece a lot, okay? Because I know I can do so much better. The character and the lantern don't interact at all, and they feel like two separate drawings, to be honest with you. The main reason I went for this more simplified composition, other than wanting to see the full character design, was that I was starting to get pretty close to the deadline, or at least the final day of the first prompt. I know logically that nothing bad would happen if I posted my drawing a day late. It's not like I'm being graded on this or it's going to a client or anything, but I decided to do this drawing challenge, and I think I felt like if I posted late for the very first prompt, then it would be like falling down at the first hurdle, and it would set this negative tone for the rest of the month. If I fell behind on one prompt, then it would be really easy to fall behind on the next one and the one after that, and it's a domino effect, and I really don't want to spend the month playing catch up. It sounds like I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself right now. I guess I am. It's just I've never actually successfully completed a monthly drawing challenge, even though every year I tell myself I'm going to do Mermaid or Huevember, or in this case Drawtober. There was one year while I was still in uni that I had a go at Inktober. I did maybe 4 of the prompts and then gave up. So I've never actually completed one of these challenges, and I wanted to change that. Posting videos like this are actually a way to keep myself accountable, actually. Like I'm putting it out there into the world that I want to complete this goal, and if I fail, that will be pretty embarrassing. But something that's nice about Drawtober is that you don't have to produce a drawing every single day, like most other drawing challenges. Instead, you produce a drawing every 4 to 5 days, which is much more manageable if you ask me. One of the reasons I always chicken out of these drawing challenges is that I worry that I won't be able to keep up with producing a drawing every single day, because even if you just make a little drawing and not a full-blown illustration, you've still got to interpret the prompt and think of something unique to actually draw. And I guess I could always skip a few prompts and make the month a little more manageable, but that feels a little, I don't know, a little cheaty to me. Like, it's a challenge for a reason, I guess. It's not supposed to be easy. It is supposed to challenge you. It's also come to my attention that a lot of people actually start working on these prompts the month before the challenge starts, because I logged onto Instagram on the 1st of October and there were already fully rendered detailed illustrations being posted that must have taken longer than a single day to produce. Now, I might be a little controversial here, because I can totally see why it would be good to start the month prepared. It can prevent burnout and everything. But I feel like creating artwork for the prompts before the month even starts goes completely against the purpose of the challenge. Even now, I'm seeing people post their works in progress for prompts 3 and 4, and we've not even reached the end of prompt 2 yet. Now, I know it's just a little drawing challenge. It's supposed to be for fun. It's not that deep. Calm down, Emily. I'm just a little salty because now I feel like I'm behind on the challenge, even though technically I'm still on track. Next year, I'll maybe plan my sketches in advance and then spend the actual month of October creating the finished pieces. We live, we learn. Anyway, back to this piece. I should probably mention some of the things I actually like, otherwise this is going to be a super negative video, and you guys know I'm not about that negativity here on my channel. This is a space for positivity and celebrating our mistakes. So I think I've made it clear that the character design is something I really like about this piece, and I might take this character a little further and make some tweaks here and there to use them in other illustrations. Maybe they're from the same world as my Goblin Princess character from a few videos back. But I also love the colours I used in the fluff around their head and neck. This combination of purple, cyan, pink and peachy yellow look really sweet together, and I'd like to create an illustration built around that colour palette sometime in the future. My gripe with those colours, however, is that I don't know whether they really fit the rest of the scene. All this bright yellow light is spilling out of the lantern, and I wanted the light to be very dramatic, so the idea is that the rest of the space is very dark. So I really ought to have made the parts of the character not directly in the light, more of a dark blue colour, because I feel like the way things are now, that lovely combination of colours I just mentioned kind of clashes with the rest of the scene. This is just more stuff I can learn from. Next time I'm thinking of picking a more limited colour palette so that nothing clashes and I don't go too crazy with too many different colours. I also can't get too mad at myself for this piece not turning out completely the way I wanted, because these sorts of challenges are to help you develop and improve your skills. And not everything you create is going to be a masterpiece. I'm sure even Michelangelo had his off days. That sounded like I was comparing myself to Michelangelo there. Don't worry, I'm not that delusional. I'm clearly more of a Da Vinci. I will say that for the next prompt, I am going to work on something much simpler. The second prompt is actually Toad Astrologer, which sounds super cute, and I'm not going to go too crazy with it. I'm doing this so that I can sort of catch up a little. Again, it's weird to think that I need to catch up because I'm not actually behind on any of the prompts. But if I make the next illustration more simple, then that gives me more time to spend on prompt 3, which is Spellbound Princess, which I'm really excited about. If you've been following my channel and my art, then you'll notice that I have a particular penchant for drawing fantastical women. So that particular prompt feels like it's more in my wheelhouse. Although I don't know whether that's me putting more pressure on myself, because now I feel like prompt 3 needs to be my best one. We need to calm down a little bit, Emily. Okay guys, it looks like we are reaching the end of the speed paint process. So thank you so much for watching and sticking around to listen to me ramble about art once again. If you enjoyed this video, then please consider giving it a like and subscribing to my channel. That way you can receive updates on when I post more content like this. And if you're interested in a more behind the scenes look at how I run my art business, I also post weekly vlogs. They go up every Sunday and they basically just document how I spend my week making art, producing products and packaging orders. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!